Good morning, welcome back. I'm Franco Garavaglia, co-founder of the Interior Mocha Design Studio together with Monica Cattaneo in Port di Milano. We deal with road custom design and interior decor. We were invited by Technobit to document our experience in using HomeStyler, which we integrated into our workflow, achieving truly excellent results. HomeStyler is a very smart tool for those who, like us, want to achieve a high level of customization of environments. I'll take you step by step to discover all the features of this program. Let's begin. Let's explore the world of doors in HomeStyler. First of all, let's see how to insert it into the project. In the build mode, we take the single door command and drag it into our model, positioning it where we need it. Here we can enter the size of the door, its width 80, confirm. And the distance from the wall, for example, 120. Confirm. I can decide the opening direction with the flip command, which we can click until we find the desired option. It is also possible to insert the door in 3D mode. Let's take a look. Let's delete this door, go to 3D mode, select the single door command and insert it into the wall. As we can see, the door can be moved, but to set the measurements correctly we need to go to 2D mode, which shows us the measurement options. Let's enter the width and distance of the wall. Let's go back to 3D mode. As we have seen, the door can be moved by holding down the left mouse button. If we move this door by mistake, we can use the undo command to return it to its previous position. If we want to avoid moving it accidentally, we need to use the lock command. We can see that HomeStyler inserts this type of door by default with the single door command, but we can also insert the door using another method. Let's delete this door, go to the Decorate mode and select the doors in the Structure option. Here, by clicking on Revolving Doors, which means folding doors, we have a large catalog of doors that allows us to immediately choose a door in the style we are interested in. For example, we can select this one and position it. To have a correct position, we go into 2D mode and, as before, we can set the dimensions. Let's go back to 3D. Now, however, let's delete this door and consider one of the doors already inserted to see which parameters we can modify. By selecting the door, a window appears on the right that shows us the parameters and characteristics of the door. Here, in the Parameters section, we see that we have the width and height on which we can modify. For example, the width is set to 80 centimeters. We can change it, for example, by typing 90 and we see that the door changes size. We can also set the height here. Let's see, let's type 210 and the door changes height. We can't modify the depth since the depth is the thickness of the wall, which in our case is 12 centimeters. We can check that this is the wall and it is 12 centimeters. Let's go back to 3D and reselect our door. The other parameter we have available is the riser, or the height from the ground. Let's see what happens when we move it. We see that the door detaches from the floor. Obviously, this is not something that is normally needed for a door, but in some special cases, for example, if there was a step and the door was therefore raised 17 centimeters from the ground, this command would allow us to position it at the correct height. Now let's look at the style options. Let's click on Style. The first command we see is the option to change passage material. Let's see what it is. Let's assume that we have two different floors between one room and another. In this way, we can determine which of the two floors should be visible inside the room. Obviously, here we would like to see the same parquet that we have in this room. So let's try clicking on it and see that the same parquet appears. If we click again, however, we can see the floor that is in the adjacent room. So let's select this floor. We can also see it clearly with the door open. We do this with the command open door. Let's see what happens, so we can understand it better. Let's go back to the previous option, close the door, go back to the living room and see what the other style options are. You see that I have blocked the door to prevent it from moving accidentally. The second command that appears is the niche command, which means frame and casing. By activating or deactivating this command, we can decide whether to have casing or have a door without casing. We can modify the casing with different commands. The first command is the pocket material, or the type of casing. The type of casing is shown to us. If we click, we can choose to change it with another model, for example this straight wood. We select it and the casing is replaced. The next command allows us to choose the casing material. For example, let's select this one and we see that the casing material has changed. The following commands allow us to determine the dimensions of the casing differentiated between side A and side B of the wall. We can decide to have the casing only on one side of the wall and not on the other. And we can also have different dimensions between one wall and the other. Let's try selecting side A. Copy, it does not disappear, so side A is the one on the other side of the wall. I'll reactivate it. Let's try side B. Let's modify the measurements. Let's try changing the thickness. Let's go from 1 centimeter to 2 centimeters and also the width from 7.6 centimeters to 9. At this point, the last command available gives us the option to apply these changes to all doors. So if we press apply to all doors will have that type of trim with that color and those dimensions. The last option is the stone threshold command. If we activate it, the threshold will appear in a material that we can naturally replace as we have already seen for the other materials. Let's see how it is possible to replace the door finish. Let's select the door. Replace material command. Let's choose a material. Let's assign this to the door. We can also change the handle material. Let's go to metal, stainless steel. OK. Let's click on Material Replacement Complete. A window will open asking us if we want to assign the current material to the same models. If we confirm, we will see that the other doors will also have had the material replaced. But let's take a step back. Once all these changes have been made to a door, we can decide to apply them to the other doors as well. This is how we do it. We select the door, go to the Copy Style command. A 2D plan appears and tells us which doors we need to apply the same style to. We choose them. Can they be all of them or just some of them? Let's choose all of them except the entrance door and finish. We can see that all the doors will have the same color, finish, and trim except for the entrance door that we hadn't selected. That's all for now. See you next time and enjoy working with Home Styler.